My name is David Welch. This is art. Alright, you're looking at the 10th day of how to cut up your rusty Mustang and put it back together in a two-car garage when you only get half the garage. Let's see, today we're going to put in our floor pan. No, actually I got to do my toe board on the left side, and then we'll get to the floor pans. I'll start by taking off the door on the other side. And we're going to start bolting in our patch panel. But before we enclose all this metal, we want to protect it a little bit, so we get some special primer that you can actually weld through. So we'll go ahead and shoot this, then we'll go ahead and start bolting it together. Okay, we've got our toe board firmly in place. Now what we'll do is where the metal is overlapping, we'll cut right in the middle. Then we'll get the metal to sit side by side or flush, and we'll go ahead and tack it up. Then we can go ahead and start taking our bolts out and working those areas. Now I've got a little trouble spot right here that just doesn't mold together really well. So we're going to do all of our nice easy areas first, and then generally the harder areas will be easier to mold in. Here's what she looks like when she's all done. We've got to weld it into our braces on the bottom, and we have a flush weld or a butt weld right up in here so that it looks original from the factory. Now we'll get going on filling in this hole in the floor. You can see that this was cut out with a chisel. It works, but it's really ugly. It hacks up your metal and just jars it all to hell. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean up some of these spots here. We're going to get our weld-through primer on it, and then we're going to clean it up and do some trial fits. And when we get it where we want it, we'll start bolting it in like we did the toe board, drilling our holes, and start welding up the Rosetta welds just like the toe boards. Goes a little something like that. your flat grinding wheels are good when you have a nice flat area. But you can see this is heavily pitted and such, so we're going to go over it with a wire brush so we can get into our nooks and crannies a little bit better. And now we will spray with our weld-through primer. Okay, now normally the floor pans that you would get from the, well, originally in the Mustangs, this was one piece, just like our toe boards was. Now on our toe board we did a flush weld because on the firewall you would be able to see if there was an overlapping weld right there, and it would be excessively ugly and such. But underneath, nobody's really going to climb into there and see that. So, well, but we still want it nice and neat just in case somebody does. What we're going to do is we're going to do an overlap weld right here. It'll be a little bit stronger, and it'll take a little bit less time because nobody's going to climb in that far and look. And even if they do, it's going to look so nice and neat, they're going to think, well, maybe that's just the way the Mustangs came. If this was a higher dollar vehicle, then you might think about doing such incidental things. But in something like this, it just doesn't make sense. Okay, so it's a little hard to see, but right here is our line that we drew in with our floor pan in. So we'll go down about an inch, and we draw a line so we can trace it and cut off all this old jagged edge. And we'll be doing that with a die grinder, not a chisel, so that it doesn't get all gougy like that. Placed where we want it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some self-tapping screws and a special bit, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to bolt this in, or drill and screw this in to the side right here. This is nice and firm and solid, so we're going to want to do this side first because the hump right here is a little bit more flexible, and we'll be able to make this go where we want. This we're not going to be able to move. So this we do first, and then we go from there. Now it's not sitting quite just flush. There's a couple of welds I got in the front. I'm going to go ahead and grind those down. Then it'll be a better place, and we'll be able to finish this off.